We will now hear from our speakers. Thank you to the families for ringing the bells and reading the names, and to the high school students for helping. Governor Rendell, thank you for coming today, and thank you in advance for sharing your thoughts and your reflections. It is an honor to have you here, but it is also a comfort. You and your entire team in Harrisburg have been and continue to be one of our biggest supporters and advocates. I know that you keep your finger on the pulse of all we are doing. You visit us whenever you can, and you are always ready to jump in whenever we need you. We could not have done this without you, and so we are honored to have you with us today. Please welcome our governor, our partner, and our friend, Edwin G. Rendell.
Good morning. When Midge and I first visited this site in my first year as governor, I didn't know what a profound effect it would have on us, and I didn't know just how important it was that what we do here be done right and provide not only a lasting memorial to 40 great human beings, but to tell a story that's important for all Americans and all future generations of Americans to understand, to hear, and to know. And towards that end, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has been pleased to be able to contribute $19 million towards these efforts. And I was able to convince the Pennsylvania legislature to appropriate that money unanimously. And for those of you who are not Pennsylvanians, you have to understand what an incredible feat that is. The Pennsylvania legislature could not agree unanimously that today is Saturday. When Flight 93 crossed into Pennsylvania, the fight to defend and protect our country was already underway. It was a fight that would be won at great cost, the cost of 40 wonderful lives. And although none of the passengers and crew of Flight 93 were Pennsylvanians, from the moment that the plane hit the ground, their names became indelibly etched into the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, along with many great men and women who have fought to protect and defend freedom and liberty in this great country, along with Benjamin Franklin of Philadelphia, who committed treason and risked his life to give birth to this new nation, along with General George Marshall of Uniontown, who helped lead the Allied war effort in World War II, and as Secretary of State, helped rebuild our allies throughout the world. General George McClellan and George Meade, who at Gettysburg led the Army of the Republic in the most vital battle that kept this nation won. Daniel Hughes of Williamsport, who led the effort to speed slaves through the Underground Railway to freedom. Daniel Boone of Reading, the great frontiersman who fought so gallantly. And Mary Hayes of Carlisle, who became known as the legendary Molly Pritchard, for in the Battle of Monmouth in the War for Our Revolution in 1778, took water to the soldiers and the artillerymen on the field fighting, and she took water through the hail of cannon and bullets. And then when her husband was wounded at a cannon, loading that cannon, she took her husband's place, and in 100-degree heat for over 5 hours stood there and was wounded herself as she helped load and fire the cannon. They were all Pennsylvania heroes. So were the 40 men and women we honor today. On behalf of 12.5 million Pennsylvanians, I want to say we will never forget what they did above our skies. We will always remember them.
Thank you, Governor. We once again are honored to have with us the president of the families of Flight 93, Gordon Felt, who's brother of passenger Edward Felt. He's a commissioner on the Flight 93 Advisory Commission, and he's owner and director with his wife Donna of Camp Northwood, a camp for special needs children. Mr. Felt never thinks about his loss alone, but always thinks about the loss of the others, including the entire nation. He's an amazing spokesperson for this project. He's compassionate, he is fair, and he is honest, and he's a wonderful partner in all situations. We are lucky and blessed and honored to have you here with us. Please welcome Mr. Gordon Felt.
I'm deeply honored to have the privilege of representing the families of Flight 93 again this year as we take time to remember 40 extraordinary individuals on the anniversary of September 11th. First Lady Michelle Obama, Mrs. Laura Bush, Secretary Salazar, Governor Rendell, and all those that have come to pay tribute to those who lost their lives in the field of honor that today we look out upon. I'm humbled by your presence. Thank you for joining with so many of our family to remember. We've experienced great loss, struggled with strong emotions, formed new alliances, and with each step, developed a clarity of purpose that sustains us. We see on the very ground before and all around us the initial stages in the creation of the Flight 93 National Memorial, a tribute to 40 individuals that took extraordinary measures to thwart an attack upon our country, and in doing so, not only prevented the loss of lives on ground in Washington, D.C., but helped to preserve our capital, one of the most revered symbols of our democracy. Their actions have fittingly been woven into the fabric of our history, and this memorial will ensure that their collective story and each individual crew member and passenger will not be forgotten by a grateful nation. On this 9th anniversary of September 11th, we return to the site where our families first came to face the horror of our loss, as well as to begin to understand the significance of the actions of our loved ones. I'm truly moved to once again stand with family members, first responders, so many from the Somerset community, and members of the media who were here in those early, difficult days. We've come full circle and can once again look out across this western overlook to view the hallowed ground on which the actions of the 40 heroes of Flight 93 led to the loss of their lives, but won an important victory on a stark day that our nation will not soon forget. My recollections of that first visit to the site are best represented by a vivid image indelibly printed upon my memory. As the buses that brought us to the site traveled across the roads of rural southwest Pennsylvania, we were saluted by police officers, firefighters, first responders of all types, as well as met by citizens holding American flags and children holding the hands of their family, all in tribute to the actions of our loved ones. That was the point at which I realized that my brother Edward and the 39 other heroes aboard Flight 93 had not only forged a bond between themselves and revealed their clarity of purpose beyond our comprehension, but also forged a bond between those of us left behind. The families of Flight 93, the people of Somerset County and surrounding area, the citizens of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, our partners from the National Park Service, the Flight 93 Federal Advisory Commission, the Friends of Flight 93, the National Park Foundation, the Flight 93 Memorial Ambassadors, our representatives in Washington as well as in Harrisburg, and supporters from all across America and around the world have collectively enabled us to stand here today witnessing the birth of a national memorial. 1.4 million visitors, 65,000 different contributors, nearly 100 volunteers and several hundred participants in an unprecedented partnership between government and citizenry have, through their presence and/or participation, made an invaluable contribution to the development of this national memorial. Yet while we look forward to the 10th anniversary of September 11th for the official dedication of the Flight 93 National Memorial, our work is not done. Not only do we need to ensure the timely completion of the memorial, we need to continue to actively remember September 11th, not in anger, but with vigilance, not in despair, but with hope, not with diminished reverence, but with inspiration. For in the message that I hope resonates with all that come to visit the Flight 93 National Memorial or hear the story of our loved ones, the message is that under horrific conditions, at a moment's notice, courage is revealed, heroes are born, and total strangers can form a bond that overcomes adversity and inspires generations to come. Our loved ones, their actions spoke for themselves. Now it's our turn to speak for our loved ones. Thank you. The Flight 93 National Memorial lost a true champion this year with the passing of Congressman John Murtha. Mrs. Murtha has joined us today, and we're honored by her presence and recognize the support that she provided to the Congressman, enabling him to be one of the most ardent champions of this project in Washington. The Congressman spearheaded the creation of the memorial in the House of Representatives and was responsible for ensuring that the early seed money for the Flight 93 National Memorial Project was provided. The families of Flight 93 could always count on the Congressman to assist us in our efforts. John Murtha's leadership and commitment to the memorial will be sorely missed. I ask you all for a moment of reverent silence in remembrance of Congressman Murtha. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordy. I now have the honor and the pleasure and the privilege of introducing you to Mrs. Laura Bush. This is not her first time here at the site. In the days immediately following September the 11th, Mrs. Bush was here. She came to pay her respects and to grieve with those that lost their loved ones. During a time of unspeakable tragedy, Mrs. Bush brought some calm and comfort to those that she visited with and those that watched from around the nation. Each time that Mrs. Bush has come back to this place, her grace and compassion have been felt by all that have been with her. She is a lifelong lover of our national parks, and her presence here at one of our nation's newest national parks helps to convey the importance of this place. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mrs. Laura Bush.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne, and thank you for your good work here for the National Park System and especially for this Flight 93 Memorial. I'm honored to mark this day with the families of Flight 93. And I'm happy to be here with the First Lady who serves our country with such grace.